Meeting recording has started.
Hi, welcome to the demonstration of my GPT Beatles Enthusiast web application. I'm going to launch the web application from my PC, and I've hosted it on a web server as well. But I just want to show you that you can run it from your PC. You don't need to host it anywhere, and it will still work just fine. So I'm going to launch it. Um, a few things that just happened. So first off, the application came up, and then you notice there was a little pause, and then you saw this agent response of, "Hello there, I'm Rocky, your friendly music enthusiast. How can I assist you today with all things Beatles?" That response came from GPT because when I launched the application, I kind of primed the pump by I have a personality built for this agent using prompt engineering. What I do is I send a hello into that agent with the system prompt of the, I'm a Beatles enthusiast kind of thing. You'll see that in the source code. And then I get the answer back and I take that answer and then I put it into the screen here. So I've already primed the pump to say that I'm a Beatles enthusiast. How can I help you? You'll notice I can then ask a message up here, and I can say like, who were the Beatles? Something very simple. You can see my request, and then you can see the response from GPT. I can take it a little bit different, a little further. It says, who was their first drummer? Because if you're a fan, you know that Ringo was not their first drummer. And so to come back and we'll say it was actually Pete Best. And I can go even further and say what happened to him. Notice how it's maintaining the conversation. So I don't have to repeat that Pete Best. I'm asking, I don't have to say what happened to Pete Best. I can say what happened to him because it knows that I just asked about Pete Best. So I'm doing a conversation management. Um, Another interesting aspect, and I can go on and on and on, is I'm using GPT 3.5. And as I say in the article, it's fast, it's inexpensive, and it's pretty accurate. I will switch to GPT-4 by clicking this. I will reload everything. I will send that hello into the model using now GPT-4. So now if I ask things like, who were the Beatles? It's going to take longer. It's slower. This model is slower than 3.5, but it's more interesting. It's more curious. It will give you a richer answer. So it's going to take just a little bit. I have a very low tier account with OpenAI, so I don't get the priority speed. So look at this answer. Look how much deeper it is than the previous answer that, who were the Beatles? It listed the Beatles. It was a very short answer. Here we've gone even further into the band members, what they played, and things about them. And I can keep going on and on with different questions and ask different things of the application, and it will respond back in kind. So rather than wowing you with my inability to do really great UI design work, let me go over here, and we're looking now at the OpenAI API set. I want to show you the API that I'm using to get this done. So I'm using the chat completions API. So here it is up here, openai.com, version 1 chat completions. Notice this authorization and this bearer token. So when you get an OpenAI account, then you can, a developer account, then you can get your own API key so that you could pass into the API calls your key. So you replace that in the software. In the software that I'm giving you with your own API key. And then you'll notice here there is the model. And in this case, I was using both 3.5 or 4.0, and you'll switch them. And I have in the code shows you which the model names are. Now this is interesting. This part here that I'm passing or is being passed, this messages array. And the messages array consists of 3 different types of users. There's a system user. You can think of that as basically the persona and using prompt engineering. So in this case, the system role has the content of you are a helpful assistant. So given this prompt engineering, this bot will answer anything. Mine, though, I wanted to be more specific to the Beatles. So in my prompt engineering, I said, you only answer questions about the Beatles. Then we have a user role, and this would be me typing on my keyboard some question, and then the content is whatever that question is. And then you have the role of assistant, and that is the response back from GPT. So start with the system role, so configure your persona. Now you can enter in user content, and then you'll get back assistant content, and then you'll have more user content, and you'll have more assistant content, and this array gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it allows you to then maintain the conversation context, because OpenAI will not do that for you. You maintain the context by basically continually giving it the entire conversation over and over again with this who said what. So that's how my application can go into, who are the Beatles, and then, before I ask who was their first drummer, and then tell me about him. And it's maintaining the context because all of that information is available in every time I invoke the API, I'm going to add even more information. So I'm not sure if there's much more to show you here. You're going to go back to the blog article, hopefully, and then read a little bit more about how this is put together. And then you'll take the source code and you'll find this call. You'll find where I make this call, and you'll find some code in here to how I manage the screen. You'll find code just to show how I switch between the different models. And that's about it. It's a pretty simple application. I'm not a really complicated web designer. I'm more of a back-end programmer, but it gets the job done. So that's about enough of an introduction for this blog. And I hope you enjoy. I hope you take this code, and I hope you apply it yourself. Get your OpenAI account, get your API key, take this stuff, plug it in, throw it on your PC, and you can run it as is. All right. Thanks.